So it finally happened, y'all. It finally happened. The big guy turned on his number one sycophantic ball coddler. Of course, what I'm saying is Donald Trump decided to lash out against Vivek Ramaswamy. So there's a lot that's going on here. Remember, Vivek in every single debate has been Trump's number one cheerleader. It's clearly strategic. He's clearly positioning himself for a future in the Trump administration or a future in media. He's trying his best to stay in Trump's good graces so that he has that rising star. He sees where the wind is blowing among the Republican base, and he thinks, I can get the most out of it if I go along with the crowd, right? That's definitely what's going on with Vivek. Because remember, in his book, he was very critical of Trump on January 6th. You know, he said some very harsh things. He said he cried watching January 6th. Now, it's the opposite. He's gone full, conspiracy theory brain, and Antifa did it, but also if Trump's people did it, it was based, and it was a setup by the feds or whatever, and now, oh my God, Trump's never done anything wrong, best president ever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, Trump, it comes out and attacks him here. The interesting thing is why? Why is he doing it? I'll get to that in a second. So here's what Trump said. Vivek started his campaign as a great supporter, the best president in generations, etc. Unfortunately, now all he does is disguise his support in the form of deceitful campaign tricks. Very sly. But a vote for Vivek is a vote for the other side. Don't get duped by this. Vote for Trump. Don't waste your vote, Vivek. Don't waste your vote. Vivek is not MAGA. The Biden indictments against his political opponent will never be allowed in this country. They are already beginning to fall. MAGA. Okay. So why is he doing this? The only answer I could think of is Trump has internal polls which show Vivek is doing better than what a lot of the public polls show. So look, Vivek was at 8% in the final poll. My guess is Trump has some internals that show him at like 14 or something like that. And Trump knows every vote that goes to Vivek is one that would go to him otherwise if Vivek wasn't in. Because people who support Vivek are down with the sycophantic love of Trump, right? But maybe they feel like, hey, the charges make it difficult. I think they're going to take him out. So that's why I got to support somebody who's like Trump, but not Trump. So that is what is leading Trump. It shows me his internal polls are a little weaker than the public polls, and he sees way more going to Vivek than he wants to see. If it was like 5%, he probably wouldn't say this. But if he's got him at like 14, 15%, he feels like, no, I want those votes. I need those votes in Iowa. And so that's why he's lashing out. Really, really interesting stuff. Now, I just gave my prediction as what's going to happen in the Iowa caucus in the previous segment, but to run through it one more time for you guys, the final poll, the Des Moines Register poll, which is historically pretty solid, has Trump at 48, Haley at 20, DeSantis at 16, Ramaswamy at 8. My guess is Vivek, DeSantis, and Haley are all going to slightly overperform the polls. Why? Because Haley's surging at this moment. DeSantis visited every county in Iowa and did a lot of events there. And Vivek visited every county in Iowa and did a lot of events there. So I think basically everybody but Trump is going to outperform the polls. But having said that, Trump will still win pretty safely, right? So, but he doesn't like something that he sees. Now, Vivek comes out and responds to Trump attacking him. Let's see what he has to say.
Here's the hard truth, and nobody seems to want to acknowledge it. But it's what's happening in plain sight. And I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. They want to narrow this down to a two-horse race between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley, a puppet who they can control. Then they want to eliminate Donald Trump this spring or whenever it is and trot their puppet into the White House. It's hiding in plain sight. We're not going to look back a year from now and say, oh, we were shocked that happened. I think we're going to look back a year from now and say, how could we not see that happening when every clue was hiding in plain sight? They're selling us the rope today that they're going to use to hang us tomorrow. And we have an obligation to this country to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm in this race because we have a duty to this country and the America First movement to make sure this lives on no matter what. It didn't start in 2016. It started in 1776.
Oh,
and the system has made clear they're going to now stop at nothing, and I mean nothing, to keep Donald J. Trump out of office. I have pushed back against this at every step. I've filed FOIA demands against the Biden administration. What did Biden and Merrick Garland tell Jack Smith in those federal prosecutions? This week, I filed a Supreme Court brief laying out what I view as the best legal arguments that the Supreme Court does need to hear in order to overturn Colorado's disastrous ruling. I've pushed back against this at every step. I'm the only candidate who has said I would remove myself from Maine and Colorado's ballots if they eliminate Trump, and I've called on every other Republican to do the same thing because that's how we protect ourselves against this election interference. But at a certain point, we have to open our eyes and see the hard truth. And yes, our duty is to this country. It's all I'm asking is to open your eyes, see the plot. It's staring us in the face. It's a hard pill to swallow, but sometimes the truth hurts and we have to open our eyes to see it.
Okay, here's my takeaway. That's clever. What he's doing there is clever. Because basically the point he's making is, yeah, Trump is leading in the polls. Yeah, he's probably going to win the primary. But the fact of the matter is they're trying to narrow it down to Trump and Nikki, and they're going to find a way to just take Trump off the field. Now, he doesn't say this part, but it's kind of implied. The thing that will take Trump off the field is either the attempts to kick him off the ballot, which are going to the Supreme Court and they'll decide. Either that or at some point before the general election, he will be found guilty on some of his 91 criminal charges, and then he'll be behind bars and he can't run the country from behind bars. That's what he's saying. Now, he's saying it in the most Vivekian way possible, which is like, let me be overly wordy, let me be grandiose and fluffy and do a lot of sophistry in the process here. But that's the argument he's making. Is it going to work? No. Of course it's not going to work. They don't want to hear it. They don't care, right? They don't care. This is more just like Trump hates the people that we hate. Trump triggers the libs the best. And Trump is the showman who's full of charisma, who makes us feel good. So that's why we're going to support him. So they don't care about your argument. Because look, the fact of the matter is this argument is kind of logical. It actually is, right? The argument is, hey, I'm the most like Trump. You should pick me because I will continue the America First thing. And I don't have criminal charges against me. They have nothing that they could use to take me off the battlefield. That's what he's saying. Now, he should have been more direct, though. That's where this falls apart, right? If he was being more direct and less Vivekian, he would say, as he kind of does it, Trump, I love you, man. I've defended you time and time again. Here are all the examples of that. But let's be clear. They're going to axe your ass. I don't want them to, but that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose one of your 91 criminal cases, and you're going to end up behind bars. And so somebody like you should end up being president, and that person would be me. So, but he can't do the hard sell. He can't do the hard break. He can't do the, hey, maybe you should actually drop out and endorse me because you're probably going to be behind bars at some point. He can't say that because that'll also trigger Trump's people, right? So he's trying to say it in like a very flowery kind of way. Like, no, man, I love you. You're the best. Hey, I think all these things are a witch hunt against you. And then he, in a very wordy way, ends up saying what I just said, which is like they want Nikki versus Trump, then they want to find a way to take Trump off the battlefield. Hey, we can't say we didn't see this coming. We know it's coming. We have to accept the clues and move on type stuff. So it's clever. It's honestly as good of a move as he has, right? I would have said it in a more direct way, but it doesn't matter, again, because at the end of the day, they don't care. His people don't care. They don't care about the criminal charges. They don't care about the solid constitutional argument to kick his ass off the ballot. They don't care about all the baggage. They don't care that he's the least electable Republican of all of the Republicans. They don't care. And so, look, he's trying his damnedest. But anyway, I'll end on this point, just reiterating what I said earlier. I think Vivek will outperform the polls in Iowa, probably get about 10%, maybe a little more, because he went to every county. DeSantis, same thing. He'll outperform by a little bit. Nikki Haley, same thing, because she's surging right now. Trump will underperform, but still, at the end of the day, if he ends up getting 40%, that's still a crushing victory, right? So that's where we are, man. That's where we are. But hey, well played from Vivek. I think this was well played, but what he doesn't understand is Trump has the literal Trump card because his cult base just will never leave him ever. Even if you make the most solid argument ever, they're going to be like, I don't care. I don't care. And Vivek calculated this very thoroughly. That's easy to see.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.